So I'm at Disney World today. I am going to make a video throughout the day of my experience today. I do have gas, but I'm just going to chronicle wait times, things like that, mostly so that I have a case for when I go to get gas again. So check-in number one, I've been at the park about an hour and a half. We did already ride Slinky Dog Dash. There was some confusion there with another group with gas. They didn't really understand how it worked, and they were having a lot of trouble. And I can't help but wonder if that's because they have these medical professionals doling them out rather than cast members. Anyhow, we're going to try to ride a few rides that allegedly have short queues. I will report back on that more. But I also wanted to just say quickly, the fill in every available space is still very much a thing, and you're not making physical space around your scooter if you want to. So that accommodation is not working yet. So I am in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. We've done a few more attractions, and I wanted to share my thoughts. And Star Tours had a 5-minute wait. If you're in an ECV, usually if the wait's under 10-20 minutes, they won't give you a return time. The queue is not accessible. So if it is longer than that, they will give you a return time, and that's just the thing, because the ECVs won't fit the queue. But it was only 5 minutes, and that queue for the ECVs is actually very steep, and going up hills is not something that my ECV's battery is a fan of, and it really did only take 5 minutes. I will say something, the queue is kind of long. It moves fast when it's only 5 minutes, and it's got cool things to see, so it's not a huge deal. But it is a little bit of walking compared to if you really need your ECV. I mostly use mine because it's hard to stand for long periods of time. I was fine. The only thing I will say that was a negative, if you get a lot of anxiety around people, when you go in the regular queue, it is very people-y while you wait for your seat to get on the ride vehicle. Like, it's very packed in and close. I'm not used to that, because with the ECV I go to the other side of the ride and get in after everybody else. So I just kind of sit in a hallway with my party, and it's a wide hallway. It was a lot of people. Then after that we did the Muppets Rise of the Resistance. So I want to talk about two of the accommodations Disney's offering in conjunction with these two rides specifically. So the Muppets actually is a show, it's not a ride, and you go into kind of like a big hall and you wait for the first show to be over to get in. Now, two of the accommodations that Disney are telling people that can't physically wait in line under the new gas rules, one is that you can just sit in the queue, like just pop a squat. They're even letting people bring in folding chairs now, which, you know, 2 weeks ago it was a fire hazard, but apparently now it's A-okay to bring a folding chair. So they say two things. Just sit wherever you are, just wait it out, pop a squat. And the other accommodation they're suggesting is for your party to make physical space around you if you are uncomfortable in tight spaces. While we were waiting for the Muppets, 2 different times the cast member said, if you are sitting down, you need to stand up and you need to fill in all available space. There should not be any empty space around you. And she said that with 6 minutes left to wait, and she said that with 4 minutes left to wait. So if you are truly in physical distress and you need to sit down, at the 6-minute mark, she's telling you got to stand up for 6 minutes. Also, they want you to fill in all available space. So if you're making that personal space bubble, there are about to be people in your personal space bubble because a cast member has contradicted what the gas people are telling you. Shock of all shocks. Also, we did Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. That queue is a little bananas. Even with the lightning lane return time, you can still wait several minutes. We waited about 10, not bad. And there are several places where they ask if you want to give up your ECV. I usually give mine up at the middle space, which is before the interrogation room. You can keep it all the way to the ride vehicle, or you can give it up in the first room with all the stormtroopers, but then you can have a 10 to 20 minute wait without a place to sit. Once again, 3 times the cast member said, fill in all available space. We should not see any empty space. This is not a line. Please fill in all empty space. I had no problems. Like I said, I stayed on my ECV almost all the way. But for people that they're let me use my air quotes, accommodations are to sit down in the queue or to create a physical space bubble around you that is not going to work, because people are not going to listen to some rando in line. Just like leaving the line and coming back when you have to go to the bathroom isn't reasonable, because nobody's going to believe you when you're like, I just stepped out of this 2-hour line to go to the bathroom. I need to get back to my space that's like third from the front. People are going to give you the middle finger. I've even heard people say that people are like banding with the other people in line around them to make physical barrier lines, like all hold hands and block the way so people can't get back to their family. So they're telling us to do things. They're not letting the rest of the park in on it. And I shouldn't have to say, hey, I need to make physical space. I have a disability. Because that's why they're called invisible disabilities. And if you don't want to tell people you have one, you don't have to. So, like I said, I've got jazz today, but I just want to keep you posted on what the wait times are really like for me, and also what these accommodations look like in the real world on a busy park day on a holiday weekend. So it's been a minute since I had an update. I'm going to update you and tell you about 2 more rides that we did. The first one was Millennium Falcon, and I want to talk about another accommodation with Millennium Falcon, and that is one of the accommodations that they're giving people as a recommendation if you don't qualify for gas anymore, is to do the single rider line. I want to say a few things. First of all, the single rider line, if you are not alone and you do not want to be separated by your party, that is not a way to save time being in line. You will absolutely positively be separated from your party. Some rides worse than others, but almost, I would say there's like a 98.5% chance you're going to be separated from your party. Don't take that 1.5% chance and then blame it on the cast member if you get in that line. Like you're knowingly getting in the single rider line. The Millennium Falcon single rider line, if you have claustrophobia, it is not the line for you. Every time I've been in it, I've seen people get out of the line because it's not guaranteed to be any faster than standby. It is very claustrophobic in the middle there. There's a part of it where it is like, I've seen people get out because of claustrophobia. Lastly, today, the single rider line for Millennium Falcon was going up the ramp like towards Docking Bay 7, so it was really long. It's not any faster that way, right? And also stairs, which I didn't remember because I haven't used it since I had my scooter. I'm sure they would come up with an accommodation if you were a single rider. There's got to be a workaround for the stairs. So the next thing, we went to lunch at Woody's Roundup Barbecue. It was really good. But as we were leaving there, my blood sugar was kind of high. It obviously dropped. So we were in line for Toy Story Mania for 13 minutes. I timed it. And I felt fine as long as I was on my scooter. I got off of my scooter to transfer onto the ride, and when I went to step up on the ride, I started to feel sick to my stomach, which is of course part of having diabetes, right? I started to feel sick to my stomach, and I kind of lost my footing, and there wasn't anything solid to grab onto. I did finally was able to get in the ride vehicle, and I felt better once I sat down. The cast member did ask me if I was okay. When I got off the ride, I immediately took some stomach medicine and then also checked my sugar. My sugar dropped 60 points. Woody's Roundup Barbecue is literally across from Toy Story Mania, and then we were in line for 13 minutes. In that, say, 15 minutes, my sugar dropped 60 points. So I'm sure that's why I lost my footing when I got out of my scooter. At that point, so, okay, you get sick in line, they say to, like, ask to get out of the line, go to the bathroom, and come back. We were literally getting out of the ride vehicle. Obviously, that accommodation also would not have worked, because what do you do at that point? So I just, like, crossed my fingers, said a little prayer that I wouldn't throw up or worse on the ride, and then as soon as I got off, I took some medicine and checked my sugar. So it's been a big park day. This is my very last video for the day. The last ride we did was Tower of Terror, and that is one that the queue is not accessible for ECVs. A mixed success with getting a return time. But I didn't need a return time today because it was a 13-minute wait, which means that it's a walk-on. And it was fine. So it was a good last ride to end the day, but just something to be aware of. That's another accommodation that they're recommending. is that you ask a cast member for return time, kind of like getting a return time for gas, but not in the app. And I will say, Tower of Terror, I've had very little luck with ever getting a return time. Like, the cast members just were like, they won't give it to you if you don't have gas. Or one time they told my 10-year-old niece, who weighed 50 pounds soaking wet, that she could push me for 2 hours. Just to let you know, if it says 13, there's no wait. But it had a low wait all day. I'm not sure why. I didn't question it, but I did get to ride it, so that was a lot of fun.